So I'm out here on a service call for a old split York 2.5 ton heat pump system. Basically I put it into a call for cooling. I had nothing going on up here, nothing's kicking on or anything like that. So I actually tested real quick to make sure I was getting a call. I pulled out all these low voltage wires here and just made sure I was getting a call from the thermostat. I had a good call, everything looked good. Tested power, I had good power coming in to my contactor here. Definitely looks like they did some weird stuff here with the wiring. That's actually a green and a black wire. So they used two different colors of green, for one for my ground, one for my power. So that's something I'll document on my paperwork. But yeah, so I kind of did a little bit more investigating. Quickly found that my capacitor here is extremely swelled up. It's all domed up on the top here. I killed power to it, pulled all my wires off, tested the capacitance. It for sure was a bad dual capacitor. So I documented that. With the power off, I decided to pull my 3 power leads going to my compressor off, and I actually ohmed them all out amongst each other. Everything looked good on my ohms on the compressor. Also, I ohmed them all to ground. I had no capacitance, no ohm reading between ground and each leg, so nothing shorted to ground, which is good. So I think my compressor is good. I just have a bad dual capacitor here. I also noticed, I don't know if it'll pick up on the phone, but it's really pitted out on this contactor and really charred up in there. So my contactor is pretty toasted as well. So I'm gonna basically write this thing up for a new contactor and dual capacitor. This is an older system, it's R22. So I mean, I will kind of notify them that, hey, this thing's an old R22, do you want to keep dumping money into it? I mean, I think this system's 15 or 20 plus years old. So I mean, it's a quite a bit older system. Also, this thermostat wire here is exposed in the sun on this roof, and you can see it's starting to, all the shielding is cracked all over. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's gonna be a short in the near future just from the shielding around the wire kind of wearing off from the sun and then starting to touch and starting to get shorts, which can be a huge pain in the butt to track out, or to trace out, I should say. So that's just something else I'll document and kind of let them know. So you definitely want to have the right power leads, so I'll document that, the thermostat wire, the capacitor, and the contactor. I always tell people, I mean, this isn't that expensive a repair. They're probably just going to go with it. At this particular site I'm at, they're actually planning on doing another big round. They're going to upgrade all these split systems to they have a whole bunch on this site, and they're planning on ripping out a whole bunch of them and upgrading to a city multi on this building. So when they decide to do that, I'll probably just kind of do this little band-aid repair and call it good, because I think they're looking at doing that here in the next 6 months to a year. Another thing I always kind of tell people, whenever I have a bad dual capacitor like this, a lot of times you'll do that repair, get it all up and going, and then you get a call, you know, a month down the road or maybe 2 months down the road, and either a compressor will fail or a condensing fan motor up here will fail. And that's basically because this thing, when it has this failed capacitor, it's still trying to start up, and I think depending on how long it's actually been bad, it keeps trying to start up over and over and over again over time. It just does a lot of extra wear and tear on that compressor and condensing fan motor. So I will let him know that, hey, we can do this repair, get these 2 parts swapped out, but realistically you might run into a future problem. That just kind of covers your butt in the field, lets them aware of it. I always document on my paperwork, because I've told multiple customers that verbally, and then they call back in, you know, 30 days later, and they're like, oh, you never said that. So I always recommend writing everything down that you can, or having it in an email or some type of a form that could be traced back to, like, hey, we told you this. But yeah, that's just some advice that I'd recommend saying to kind of cover your ass in the field. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. That's pretty much everything on this one. Pretty straightforward, easy diagnosis on this particular one. And then I will leave a note, just because all these commercial sites, you never know if you might be the one coming back, or if they're even going to do the repair. Might be 6 months down the road they decide not to do the repair still, and I might come back out here on a maintenance or something, and it just kind of little cheat sheets to go off of, just rewrite up stuff you've already written up. So I'll have a little note that I'll put in here basically stating what everything that I'd recommend doing, and go from there. So thanks again for watching.